Hi! My name is Mummified, and you probably know me from the hit show on YouTube called Your OC Sucks. This is the Your OC Sucks live panel where I'm going to tell you all about how to make a good, well-rounded character and making sure that your characters don't suck. Now, I'm going to take this from an approach of building a character up, but if you can then extrapolate from these ideas and then use them and tweak your OC currently that you already have, or one of, or maybe a future concept that you're working on as well, that can also work as well. So, just keep in mind that no OC is really like set in stone. You can always tweak things, you can always change things, nothing's ever, permanent. Let's get started. So, like I said, my name is Mummified. I'm the host of the show. But for those of you who don't know or just thought this was an interesting title or whatever, what is an OC? Well, an OC is an original character or other character, which is dumb, or a fan character, which is even dumber. We get so many comments about like, you should change your name to your fan character sucks. I'm like, shut up. No. Nobody likes a fan character. It's an OC. Everybody knows OCs, so that's what it's called. It's essentially a character that lives in a fictional world created by somebody else, whether it's something from Harry Potter, some random animal, or the Sonic family. The Sonic family. Yeah, nobody wants that. So, I believe that most OCs fit under the three categories of persona, show character, and other. Obviously, persona is more of an idea of yourself living in the world that you're trying to convey or whatever. Many people know my character, Church Cabinet. He sort of is, at one point when I was working in a tailor shop, was me living in Equestria, so to speak, sort of like just essentially a male rarity, but not so obvious. Or a show character. You could be making a completely different character that has nothing to do with who you are, and have that as the original character. Then obviously others, because not everything is another. But blah blah blah. You did.
Thank you.
No worries. I was making sure nobody took off with it. Yeah, all that is pretty much just like, yeah, we all know what an OC is. But that was a quick little rundown for anybody who didn't know what an OC or original character was. This I actually ripped from somebody else's Tumblr, and I can't remember who it is, but I'll give proper credit to whatever. Anyway, of what to think about when you're creating an OC. A lot of people like to start with just a cutie mark, or just name, or just a color palette. And in my opinion, that's backwards. You shouldn't be doing that. Questions will be at the end. Do remember. Everything, you should be starting with, where your character is located, and that kind of feeds into everything else, and then the race feeds into everything else, and you'll see that once you start thinking of from this approach, you will find that the character just comes more naturally. So to start off with, you have setting. Where does your pony live? This is, is it in Equestria? Is it in Ponyville? Is it Canada? Some bustling city? Some distant far off land? Or an AU or alternate universe of the original storyline? Some random fact has changed. If Discord was never defeated and he still ruled over Equestria or some storyline. Or, oh my god, super cringe Draconequus. Fallout. Everybody loves Fallout. Not to say that all Fallout characters are bad, they're just, everybody loves Fallout, so why not? I went too far. So, your race. This is kind of an obvious thing, but you can be a Earth Pony, Unicorn, Pegasus, Alicorn, Dragon, Diamond Dog, Gryphon, Zebra, Draconequus, Hippogryph, Changeling, Demon, Crystal, Butt Plant, Robot, Cyber Dog, Android, Apple, Deer, Horse, Wolf, God, Wood Nymph, Tree, Other. Literally, did I not put bat? I didn't put bat ponies on this. What's wrong with me?
Or bat ponies.
Bat ponies, yeah. Literally, this is a list of all the different species we've had submitted to our show. It's not all of them, but we have at least 3 of every one of these. And it's kind of sad. I'm like, I wish I could do an episode on this. Anyway, so, and before you pick your race, you gotta bring it back to what your setting is. If you're basing off of like a Cloudsdale or a pony that lives in Cloudsdale, don't make him an Earth pony. This is common sense. If you're making, those are tying back to then Fallout Equestria, it's like, okay, if you make a character in that world, and it's supposed to be like what all the original story was doing, you can't really make it Pegasus, or else it's just going to be weird. It's almost like you're not fitting in that setting. So make sure whatever your setting is ties in where or what kind of race it is. Next, you have your personality for your character. What really like makes it stand out, and what like makes it it. It should be as diverse as you are. You know, I have a list here of attitudes, fears, sexuality, which, by the way, can reach a gambit of different things on that end as well. You can have it as like you can try to figure out what his Myers-Briggs code would be, like introverted, social, timid, judging, or whatever the Myers-Briggs things are. Literally anything and everything. There is a website out there that you can actually test to see if your character counts as a Mary Sue or not. It's like a huge, long, like, I think 150 question thing about just one character. Just one character, and you just run through this list and be like, well, it's like on a percentage level, like you're only 50% of Mary Sue, or like it's like a stupid little BuzzFeed test thing, but it's not a BuzzFeed. It's actually a reputable source. And you're gonna get this from me. Morning. Make sure it links back into your race and goes back into your setting as well. These are going to be factors that then adjust further throughout the rest of the character. So you also have this interest. Now, interests are not a special talent. Yeah, that looks okay. I didn't actually look at the projector before I started, so you can always be like, I don't know what it is. What is it? Anyway, so yeah, you have, it's not the special talent. Its interests are the small other things ponies like how Pinky likes to bake, or a little bit more refined bits about his personality, and its interests are then, fed into by personality. It's like, okay, if its personality is super happy and full of energy, it'd be weird that like your character likes to, look at Excel spreadsheets all day. It's like it could work and it'd be a really weird character, but you're gonna have to work at it and be like, oh dude, I love Excel spreadsheets. They're the best, filling themselves with numbers, right? Yeah. Next, you have the general theme of your character. It's the idea of a character. It's more broad than personality, but obviously not as loose of a concept as they're good or they're evil, or for you D&D nerds, they're lawful or they're chaotic. It's a little bit more, and also don't forget about your setting, personality and interest. All feeds back into it. Next, you have the talent. Now, this is what makes the Cutie one. This is the job the character does for a living. It's very awkward or weird when you have a special talent that is completely removed from whatever their job is. The world of Ponyville is very much, hey, this is your special talent. Guess what? It's going to be your job. This is what you're going to do. And the fact that you have a character that their special talent is, let's throw something out there, washing windows. Well, guess what? They're going to have a job washing windows, or something at a glass cleaning place, or owning a business where they glass cleaning ponies, or a car wash, or I don't know. It's not my character; it's your character. So it's like I said, it's more than a job. It's more than just one job or talent. Think of Also, like how Cheerilee has her cutie mark that is flowers smiling. Now, you don't get teaching from that, but she tells you that it's because she loves seeing the smiling faces of people's or ponies learning as they grow and blossom and bloom. And that's a little bit more nebulous of a concept and hard to define through the cutie mark. And also, don't forget about the fact that your talent should be improved by blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it does do that. So, but this then ties into whatever its talent is, ties into what cutie mark is. So we're not. And the next thing you think would be the cutie mark. Well, it's not yet. Next come your colors. Now, colors are hard. Color theory could be an entirely other half-hour panel that could be just that. Like talking about analogous colors, complementary colors, colors that work in a tritone or whatever, or monochromatic colors and things like that. Things where, it's things that are appealing to the eye. People make fun of the black and red OCs because it is stark black, 100% black, and 100% red. Like, my rule of thumb is never have your saturation level because color works in a couple of different things. You can either have CMYK, which is like cyan, magenta, yellow, black. CMYK. Cobalt, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Yeah, that's, the colors they use for when you're actually printing things on like actual paper, like ink. And then you have RGB, red, green, blue. More of a light spectrum, which is better for, working on actual computer or things that are projecting light to create images. And then you have hue, saturation, and brightness. And hue is the entire gamut of colors in a circle wheel. And the saturation is how intense that is. Like, you can either have like a super pale pink color, and that's a low saturation, or you can have a bright neon pink color that's a very high saturation color. And then from that, you can also have how dark or how light it is. Obviously, black is white, so to speak, but obviously it's a color. My rule of thumb is that whatever color you pick, make sure the saturation never goes beyond like 75%. Anything beyond that is just a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much of that color. Now, I'm not going to say it's super bright because at that point you can kind of work on the brightness and whatnot. And I know there are artists in this room that are much more talented than me, and they may be like, nah, it doesn't matter. But if you have a question about colors or whatnot, my best advice to you on like what colors you may be thinking about using is go to General Zod. This is literally the only time I will ever tell you to use General Zod's Pony Creator. Literally the only time. Put just a general what maybe your pony looks like and put your colors out there. Don't save that. Don't put it anywhere else. Because this is not a done product. General Zod's Pony Creator is not a finished product, by the way. Never think it is. Unless we're going to use that and be like, hey, I can't art, but I do have General Zod. I know this isn't what it's supposed to like be the end goal, but hey, person who does art, or hey, the person I'm looking to commission, what do you think of these colors? Do you think these could be working, or what could be worked out? Like I said, this is a huge thing, and color theory is a very heavy topic. Like this is something that people go to college to learn about. For color theory and whatnot. So find an artist you like, look at what colors they use in their pieces, and then try to figure out how your colors, basing it off of setting, race, personality, and theme, work back into your character. Also, like, if your character is let's go with Canterlot, Earth Pony, Happy Tax Account, I guess. I don't know. It's probably going to be, in my mind, if I had to think about that, a very light colored pastel, like whitish blue maybe or something like that. I mean, it wouldn't be bright, out there colors. It's got to be. It's hard. The colors are the hardest thing about a character. So really take your time, see how it looks, show it to your friends, be like, hey, what do you think of these colors? I'm trying to do it or figure out, how to make my colors. Anyway, I put too much time on that one and said almost literally nothing. And then finally the name. Well, not finally. Cutie mark somewhere in there. Anyway, the name. Your name is very important. It can be very hard to fall into the trap of just making the most generic, do-nothing name. Like, it's like, oh, it's Starblitz, and he's a Pegasus, and he flies, and he does the things. And I'm like, that's helping literally nothing. Think of everything that makes your character. Like, if I had, going back to the whole tax accountant pony, if I had a tax accountant pony, what is, an accountant. Something I used to do at the improv class, or improv actual theater that I used to format, was a game called What Are You Doing? And long story short about this game is you needed to come up with associations to whatever activity. Like if someone's saying like golf. One time I was like, I'm crashing my Escalade into the tree. And it's like, what was crashing my Escalade? Tiger. Okay, Tiger Woods. Got it. Okay. And everybody just started laughing. So it's all about association. Now, obviously, you're not going to go that far, but if you sit there and you think, okay, tax accountant pony, accounting, numbers. And it's like, okay, from accounting, accountants deal with numbers. Numbers are then used in, someone give me something that they, stock? Great. And then take it a different direction. Accountants use computers. What do you associate with computers? Good ideas. These are all great. So I heard electricity, motherboard, electronics, everything. So you can sit there and be like, okay, stock, or in fact, how about silver stock? No, that's too close to silver. I don't know. It's something that's like, okay, you can take the idea of like the concept of what its job or talent or whatever it is, and then taking a step to something else, and then taking another step. Like, you think of bread, it's like, okay, bread, grain, plant, or bread, grain, whatever, or bread, bake, whatever, bread, something, dot, or dot, dot, dot. You want to take what the general concept is of the talent or its profession, and then take, like I said, those two steps to make it. And I think that will help people really, quantify and bring into existence a tangible name to which your character will love and desire for the rest of the time. It'll be a strong, powerful name that everybody will be like, oh, dude, yeah, I know that character. Like, oh my God, Zoe, she's so cool, or Starburst, or Silverquills, like, or this, or that, this. It'll be like, yeah, favorite my stuff on DA. I know you want to. Wait, what am I? Wait. I'm losing it. Talent, colors, name, Cutie mark. Cutie mark should be the last thing you ever work on your character. Make it the last thing. People like to start with Cutie mark. Don't do that. If you start with Cutie mark and work backwards, you're going to end up with a character that is flat, bland, one-dimensional, and it's like, okay, that's a Cutie mark. I wonder what his talent is. Oh, it's that. I wonder what the lady is. Wow, big surprise. Great writing, Michael Bay. You're so good. If you do it this way, it's going to be a lot easier. I had back on the picture. This shows what is going to be fed into each topic. Setting feeds into race, personality, interest, talent, theme, colors, and name. Not cutie mark. The cutie mark, in my opinion, is what you should be doing, or in this order, by doing it this way, which I believe everybody should be. Your cutie mark is only influenced by name, color, and talent. Not its setting, not its race, not its personality, or its interest. Talent, color, name. Where everything else was brought back into the same thing, you want to make sure that this is something different. You don't have to tie it down. If you're living in, like, far off distant Afghanistan, living with cats, I don't know, something like that. That is, well, actually, the selling bottom actually is kind of tied back into it. I guess you could put a toboggan cutie mark. But anyway, the setting doesn't matter. Your cutie mark doesn't even really matter either. It's like, how many characters from the show do you know their backstory and how they got their cutie mark? I mean, you only have 6, but that's beside the point. How many characters did it matter what setting they were in when they got their cutie mark? Yeah, Applejack was away from her home, where she got her apple cutie mark, or Rarity found a big old rock that then did whatever. But it's like you gotta make sure that you focus more on colors, theme, and talent behind it, and bringing it out to be a much more. If your character's job is like, oh, he's going to be a royal guard, so I'm going to put a shield on it. Okay, that works. But just realize that a lot of people do that with their cutie marks. And trying to be unique can lead you into being like too out there. So I know I say try to be different, but with the cutie mark, it's kind of more okay to fall into a more accepted thing. Like if somebody sits there and looks at your cutie mark and goes, I know exactly what that is. I can probably assume that his talent is X. You'd be like, yeah, it is. And you want that with your cutie mark. And you want it to be like, fun. It's easy to recognize. Colors really do matter in this one. We all 4 of us on the show, Brandon Sparkle, many others, Taylor, and all agree you should not be using black outlines on your cutie mark. Never use black outlines. Because if you do that, it then looks like a sticker that somebody just plastered on the side of the horse. Or I guess a Gryphon or a Draconequus or whatever health face you're trying to make. I don't know. But try to keep it to a 3-color max color scheme that then somewhat works with the color scheme of the actual Pony you're creating, or the OC. And you gotta remember to, make it special every time. You gotta make sure that this character really is something that you can stand behind and be proud of it. And the final step that you gotta make sure that you keep on to is that you can put it all together with a great heart. I get a lot of people who sit there and say, I can't do it because I don't know how to control, so I make my pony creator and it works out just fine. Don't ever sit there with pony creator unless you are working on just color design and getting the idea or concept of colors out into the world. Hand drawn is always an option. I've had hand drawn characters on my show be judged and critiqued that have beaten high quality digital art from a character. And it's sad, but it's true. I've had like hand drawn taken with a picture, like a really bad cell phone picture, where like I saw the shadow of the thing in the picture, like terrible cell phone picture of somebody with hand-drawn art sent in and beat something somebody made in Photoshop. I was like, this is awesome. This character, this guy, he's cool. That is bland and uninteresting. So don't ever think that your art isn't good enough, because it may be good enough to convey the ideas and thoughts that you're trying to make. But there are sometimes that people feel so bad about their art and they just, oh, I don't want to do this, it's too much stress or something, blah, 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 or I feel that another artist could convey the things I'm trying to put out there with my character better than I could. So if you truly do feel that way after you made your character on your own, sending it out to someone to get commissioned. Now, paying someone to do art for you is not wrong. It's not. It's very fine and dandy, and if you want to do it, sure, go ahead. But never commission someone without something to show as an example. That General Zod Pony Creator thing, I told you it's never a final product, but you can use that and be like, okay, this is the general idea I had for it. Here's the hand-drawn thing I did for my character. Can you help me out on bringing this more to a show style, or more, better represented idea that I could put out to the world? And really work with your commissioner and try to, help them out, help them see the character idea you're trying to get across. But realize that when they say, okay, great, I have an idea of what you want, let me roll with it, and just let them fly. They'll do their thing, they'll get you great art. I mean, you went to them because you like their art, so trust them that they're going to deliver an amazing product. So, yeah, why did I put that? Now stop, collaborate, listen. Nice to get back to the brand new affliction. And after you have all of that done, all of your things are in a bucket, you're like, yes, this is a great OC. I need it to be reviewed on a podcast so that they can tell me if it sucks or not. Which honestly, most OCs kind of don't suck. They're actually not how to use it. They're like, okay, yeah, this is nice. But you can send it to us at deviantart.com, where it is EuroCSucks.com. You can tweet at us at EuroCSucks. You can email us up at EuroCSucksPodcast@gmail.com, or you can submit it to our Tumblr at EuroCSucksPodcast.tumblr.com. Honestly, if you want your character on a show, DeviantArt. Send us a note on DeviantArt, or send us a message somehow, either on our profile page or whatever, linking back to your character. That's where you should really be doing it. Because, truth be told, email is really hard to look at everything we've received and try to work that way. And Tumblr, we gotta actually I'm always logged into our show's Tumblr, and Medi's always logged into the show's Tumblr. It's really hard to have the other guys get access to the Tumblr, scroll through all of the pictures that we received. That one looks okay. What's this one story? Okay, no, just miles of the stuff that we have on Tumblr. I feel like your better chance of getting your character on our show is submitting it through DeviantArt. So that's where you can go. You can always go. As well, you can also support us on Patreon.com. I mean, obviously, this is not an accurate representation of what our show is, but it's an entry-level thing to be able to see how to better make a character. Listening to our advice on that show may also help you see other characters that you were thinking something similar and what they did wrong or what they did right, and try to emulate for that situation yourself, for your own character. Oh, he did a baker, I'm trying to do a baker. What did they do? I want to do that. Don't obviously rip it off. I mean, concepts and ideas, more or less. So that's the end of how to make an OC. Who wants to ask a question? So, some of you may have been at BabsCon earlier in the year. Who's been at BabsCon? Who went to BabsCon this year? Okay. So, who also watches Ego Raptor? Or pays attention to Game Grumps? Okay, sweet. So he did a panel at MagFest like a couple years ago where he's like, I don't know, you with the hat and the thing, yeah, you. No. Yeah, you. What's your question? That's just stuff. Put something in the air, like put a hat if you got a question. Put like something like shoot up like devil horns or something like to be like, oh yeah, you with the plushie or you with the hand jive. What's your question? So you with the plushie.
I've already got a virtual character that I'm trying to make into my persona, and after talking to this, I don't feel like it would be prudent to completely dismantle the character. However, I really like the name. Is it possible to go through all these steps and to figure out the trademark and the career and all that stuff, and figure out a way to make the name that I like so much still fit with that?
Giving a name.
The name is Ear Tech. And the persona that I'm trying to portray is a robot actor that's not like so my persona name is Ear Tech with a robot.
Yeah. Well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, like, if you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, well, if it's a gear, it's like an actual robot dummy? Is it actually a robot dummy, or is it a street performer dummy? Okay, so it is a street performer dummy.
Yeah, so okay. Ear Tech is the actual name of the company.
Yeah.
But Living Robot is the name that everybody else.
Okay, so that's interesting. Nicknames. So nicknames, you can recreate the character from the ground up, and I believe keep that name because it still works. If the new dummy you're trying to make is the persona is technically your persona, and its general dance theme feel for it is we'll think of it this way, okay? It's a pony, its special talent is dancing, its theme that it does when dancing is more of a street performer robot style. Okay, here, yeah, it totally works. Like, it works in that sense that you just so happen to fall into Gear Tech working as the name. And in that particular sense, yes, that still works. So I would still roll with that. Cool. Next question, guys. Anybody? So, cowboy hat for that. Colorful Gryphons. Like flamboyant, brightly colored ones? We just did a Hippogryph / Gryphons episode, and there was one that was from the far off distant land of South America, and it was like styled as like a cockatoo. It was just like, it literally looked like a Hippogryph version of the Fruity bird. I was like, this guy has got it going on, because what sucked before in the show was we had at one time one reference for a Griffin, Gilda. And Gilda just looked like a hawk in line. Alright, great, cool, that's a Griffin. But then we had another episode, Rainbow Falls, where it introduced three more Griffins. And they all essentially just looked like, Griffin recalls. Then we were given like a great little nugget in the style of Griffin style. And it had a bunch of different like characters in it. And it's like, oh, damn, there's a vulture dude, and then there's more of like this guy, and there's like other birds that they're using and they're throwing it in. So if you're sitting there thinking like, okay, I want this bird that happens to be purple and whatever, yada yada, as like the actual like bird part of it and then make the rest of it a lion, it's like, yeah, that could work. And then I can make the coat be like this color. That's not conceptually wrong at all. But it's tricky on the color aspect because you can sit there and be like, okay, base Gryphons off real birds, in my opinion. That's something you want to look into. Like if you find, if you want a purple bird, Google purple birds. Obviously, don't stick with a parakeet, though a parakeet Gryphon would be pretty fun. Just imagine this like stupid, fat, short head being like attached to a Gryphon just like, hey. It's great. I love it. We actually, side tangent from that, we just did a Diamond Dogs episode. And I can't remember if this conversation got cut to the episode or not, but I remember doing a recording where we broke in the middle of the episode and we were like, okay, this character is a diamond dog from Australia. His mom was a regular diamond dog, or was a boxer breed of diamond dog, and then his dad was a dingo dog. And I was like, dingo? For Australia? I'm like, that is so brilliant! Like, basing these weird other animal creature ponies, or OCs, off of like real world things we have, we were sitting there like, oh dude, what if they had like a Pomeranian diamond dog? Or what if they had like a corgi? Oh dude, what if they had a doge diamond dog? I was like, oh my god, that'd be so cool, right? So the fact that we are given these wonderful little nuggets of real like things that we can tie to our own thing, and we're able to like bring it back into your own character, I think is dynamite. So, like I said, Google purple birds, and you'll be golden after that. After Big Mac hat. Yeah, like paint, American Quarter, Shetland, what? Pastel. Yes. That is, you have to think about it from, they're big horses, and it's tricky on that side because you sit there and who here is an actual actual legal equestrian? One, maybe two. Okay, you got if you're an equestrian, it's easy to be like, oh, between 5 and 6 and it's like, yeah, you can have those like textbook definitions of what that horse is, but you got to think about it from an outside standpoint of that horse. You got to sit there and think of, okay, what makes a Clydesdale or Clydesdale for me? For me, it has a poofy feet. They got big old poofy things. It's like they're wearing like those fuzzy Ugg boots that chicks wear sometimes. It's like awesome. But like, you gotta find a way to make that obvious through the art first, or at least mildly noticeable through the art, and then describe it in the description. Say that, okay, they are a Shetland, or they are a Clydesdale, or they're a Arabian, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And making your horse taller, used to be a no. Because then you get into the levels of it just being Celestia, and height, and that's long, and pre-season 5. I gotta admit, season 5 is screwing us over because us on the show, because they're throwing stuff in here that's just like, let's just get it out there, guys. Who cares? The special talent doesn't matter. He doesn't realize what it actually is. Oh, screw it up. All right, let's go with it. I'm like, this guy's huge. He's like taller than Celestia. What are you doing, Larson? Ruining me. Like the entire concept of like Kmart's is like thrown out the window, and I'm like, flip the table. I'm done. Well, my main point to that is, make it apparent. Make it very obvious to the viewer that that's what you're going for. Think of like the very solid aspects everybody relates it to, and then it'll work out fine. Bless you again. I also like the fact that you're the only one that stands up. It's okay. You can stand up. You won't work the legs. I know you're not going to be walking that much this weekend. It's kind of a much more stationary thing. I'm kidding. Yeah, stretch it out now. Stretch it out.
So I was wondering.
Yeah. I was hoping you read this the whole time. I was like, yeah, this guy's committed.
What is your take on having other animals that have not appeared on the show as a means of, for example, what if you were to create an overseas blue woodland fox who happens to get along with certain ponies for whatever reason? What is your take on that?
Like, are we talking like a sentient fox?
Yeah.
Or just a random creature?
Like a sentient fox. It's like the ponytail.
Or the deer or the cows. Yeah. So, the idea and concept of a woodland creature being sentient, it's almost got like a weird size factor to it. Like, because we have deer in the comics, spoilers, that can talk. And then you have cows that can talk. And then you have donkeys that can talk. It seems to be bunnies, squirrels, well, technically they can communicate to Fluttershy, but regardless. Anyway, like you have these characters that can talk and these characters that don't talk. So if we're talking like a woodland fox that's like barely knee-high in the show, that would be weird. But if, let's say, it was maybe up to a pony's chest, I think that would be the point where I'd draw the line. It's like anything from like chest height for the pony and down, it'd be weird. But anything from there up, yes.
So, but if you were to say that this is a one-man fox, it comes from some place of say like face height, where they are approximately the same size of ponies, but they are carnivores.
Yeah, and that's where you fall into the far off distant land trope. Not trope in the sense of bad, but cliche as in, hey, it's a far off distant land. You don't know what's going on there. You don't know their life. There you go. Now, you can do that and be like, oh, this far off distant land. Well then, why are they here? Or you have to keep your story based there. There was a great story that I saw that somebody submitted this tropical island Pegasus, but the island wasn't an island, it was a volcano in a cloud that was so far off the coast of Equestria that no one would be able to fly there without passing out and dying. But a storm one time brought her all the way over to Equestria's mainland, and now she's this like, what are you doing? Like, this is weird, kind of thing, like washing up on the beach. And that's kind of the story that can bring your character over, and that's sort of a call to action for why that character is in a place, as opposed to the typical traditional call to action which makes the hero go on his journey or whatever. But the fact that we were able to justify, might not even be justified because the tail of but it was the Pegasus, they fished, because that's all they could grow on so that's the only thing they could eat on the cloud because they couldn't go to rain. So then it was like, okay, these are omnivorous opponents that ate fish and whatnot, and they felt a lot of ways for a little bit more to be, it's justifications for that. With an OC, it's like, if you're going to do something funky, you have to have a solid justification for it. Like, okay, I want an Earth pony who works at the weather factory. Wait, hold on. I'm going to read a little bit further on this. Okay, so like, his mom was a Pegasus and his dad was a Pegasus, but their recessive trait within themselves caused her to be an Earth pony, but she still has it like, okay, this explains it, but it's wonky, it's hard. You gotta make sure that justification is solid and strong on your character, no matter what weird or other thing you want. Or go, talk to your friends back. Wait, hold on, Mac. I got a different one. If you already had a question, get a second one. I want to get you comment on that. Hairspray OCs. This is interesting because it sort of falls under that we only have one episode to go off of, so it's going to be hard. Now, I can't remember, were Hairspray a thing in other generations? I can't remember. Were they?
They weren't, however, they were in there was something that was for
yeah, it's one of these things that it's we only have one episode to go off of, and very limited knowledge on what a parasite does. They carry pollen back to their portal to some other place. I don't. It's some. Oh! Crap! You're right! Hey, okay, they're all like little tiny things with wings, okay? Parasites, right! We are make the bird. Yeah, parasites, you don't need a setting, you don't need a race, you don't need it, well, it is a race, but all you need is color. What color do you want to make it? I want to make it purple. Okay, make it a lavender purple. You're done. It's not like, okay, let me put the tiny dartboard on the wall and just be like, that color. It works. Like, what else do you need? They're not giving like, swarm. So I didn't chop. No! They're parasites. You just do it. That's all it is. No. I was at Draconequus there. I got so annoyed. Literally just see the people just wrongly doing the Shia LaBeouf thing. And I'm like, shut up. Go home. Get a new meaning. Gross. Anyway. So, yeah, parasites, take a color. You're done. That's it. So, I have seen people take adaptations of other things and making a parasite out of them. Like, forever ago, I had a picture of a parasite that was styled off of Labs from Portal. I'm like, dude, that's super cool. I found it, and I'm like, oh, they kind of like digitized the eyes a little bit. So, you know, if you want to make something fun or a little tweak there, sure, why not? What's up? Probably. Yes, that is weird. Doesn't it mean you should not create a character? No. Hybrids are weird because they're different locations of sex. We don't have potions of magic. And I hope there's potions or magic behind that, because then you get into weird other conversations that I'm not allowed to talk about on this thing because people cut me off because that's not PG. I love this. Anyway, so yeah, like, I don't know, if you had like a tiny little tiny pony that was just literally eating everything. And he just had like dead, solid black eyes. The eyes, they just look at you dead black. I don't know, you could make some like weird abomination thing, and you could probably have fun with it, but it's gonna be hard and wonky, and it goes back to the other thing, justification. Justify it, make a story out of why this happened, and if it is a potion thing, why the hell someone would want to do that? Like, oh, it's a weird potion because this scientist did it. What's wrong with this guy then? Why did he do that? He is weird. I don't know. Big Man, you had a question. Classic. No, that's a classic example of justification. Mr. K, that's that weird point where it's like, okay, well, wait a minute, that's a unicorn, that's Pegasus, but you're two Earth ponies. Well, he uses the justification of, oh, recessive trait because of blah, 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 yada, yada. Long story short, my son has green eyes because my great-grandfather had green eyes, or something like that. That's 100% justification. Now, is it weird, and would it take a lot of, like, stars linking up in outer space, lining up for those two twins? Which, by the way, having twins, I think is actually pretty uncommon as well. No, even with horses. Horses don't get that. Horses don't have twins. Very rare. So, like, the fact that they had twins, coming from if horses in that world were like horses in our world, sort of idea, implications on that, like, that had to be, like, Celestia wills it to be, like, 20. Like, how does it happen? Well, it all falls under that same thing of justification. He's able to justify it because his second grandson's college roommate uncle. Don't ask questions. Exactly, right? Pigeon. Oh, Archimedes. No. We are looking to quantify something that is... Okay, what is the original context of whatever character? Then I will go and based off of what I've done so far. So, allegories are hard. People, in my opinion, unjustifiably hate allegories. Like I said, for no reason. They just like, oh no, man, how dare you? How dare you put a how do you predict that? Well, it's not me. I'm not making my own allegory. I don't have some inflated ego of myself saying, I'm supposed to, so I deserve it. Or something stupid like that. Like, if you want to make an allegory of a scene, you gotta remember that it is an allegory of a scene, and you realize that its character, if you're basing it that way, see, this is what I'm talking about. You're going in the opposite direction. We're thinking of race. Wait, no, that isn't right. So, race, you gotta think that this character has to use magic, and this character has to fly, be able to fly. So, make sure that you have that story behind it to back it up. It's probably going to need to be an AU. Honestly, all allegories should be in an AU. By the way, if you ever wonder about the difference between a or an, if the following word starts with a vowel, you use an, not a. Because a allegory is not an. English. So anyway, yeah, you've got to make it an AU. You've got to make sure that it's, justify the world that this is a thing, and this is why this is a thing in this other world. Yeah, and if anybody's got questions about their OCs or whatnot, it's not hard to find. You can go play. Don't find me outside. I'll totally answer any questions. Let's see. Let's go. Yeah, Aladdin I saw first. Dude, you got hot pants in the land. You're Aladdin.
Okay, so I wanted to comment on that real quick because
is your pattern?
to me, I figure out a way to go around the whole California thing. You don't talk fly, you don't have to have But my question is,
okay.
My question is, can OP and mind go without having to We got mobile sound, a little annoying, hyperactive, like Frank, and the gamer, and all those other things.
Gamer aspect about those things. But the fact that he is a genie coming is not justification on its own for it to be that thing. It's like, okay, it's a genie. After that, you're like, nothing matters. You can literally have to do anything at that point because that's essentially almost godlike status. Because if you have a genie in a lamp like Aladdin, then yeah, that's all the justification you need, and that's what it is. So, I'm done. One more. We're done. Okay, so we're done here. They apparently got to wrap things up and break it down for the next thing. But I will be out there. I want, like, you have questions for me, ask me out there. If you also want, send it in to the show as well. We'll be happy to answer that on the show as well. But in the meantime, go out, enjoy the con, and go have fun. And remember, your lesson sucks. Clap, clap, clap.